All right, let's get started. Yeah, let's get started. Good evening, everyone. Today, I welcome you to our first webinar of the year titled How to Manage Your Startup as a Project. Now, from the get-go, let me just tell this. For all the PMI members, you will receive an email with a PDU claim code in 2 weeks. So watch out for that. Now, coming back to the webinar, our presenter for today is Ahmed Zuhair, who is a project management expert and a consultant. There is a lot we can learn from this webinar today, but before Ahmed takes over, I'd like to address our audience. Ahmed will take your questions at the end of each section, so please ask your questions in the chat box and I will ask your questions on your behalf. And the questions that you see on the webinar, you can answer them in the chat box, and I and Ahmed will be looking at the chat box frequently. So coming back here, Ahmed, you can take over. The audience is yours.
Well, hello, everyone. Like what Fatima said, my name is Ahmed Zuhair. So I just want to share with you, I was one of you sitting there, and I just want to share with you some of the information that I learned the last few years. So welcome, everyone, and Happy New Year, and let's get started. So before I start, this is just a warm-up questions. So I want this session to be very interactive, and you feel like I'm talking to you as a friend and colleague, whatever you want to call it. So let's go ahead and get started, and write in the chat, tell me about who you are. Are you a project manager or soon to be a project manager? Are you an entrepreneur or a startup or a small business owner? Or venture capital, thinking about investing. And the last question, what are the 3 things that you're grateful for? We just want to get a warm feeling before we get started. And I see a lot of people put in the chat. So let's go ahead and take a few moments and write down, and to just give me an idea about who you are and what are your intentions on from this webinar at the end of this session. And I expect everybody to engage and participate, because it's just going to be a great presentation with your participation. Don't be shy, write anything. We're here to discuss everything. So Fatima, do you want to call out some of the names? And can you hear me, Fatima?
Yes, I can. So right now we have Ahmed, who is a PM in a contracting company. We have Waleed, who recently got his PMP certification. Congratulations, Waleed.
Congratulations, Waleed.
So far. And then we have Muhammad, and he is a certified associate portfolio and project management. Yeah, so that's awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, Muhammad. And then we have Jonathan, who's working as a senior architect at KAFD as client side. We have an esteemed list of audience today.
Good, good. So it's great to hear from you. Thank you for sharing your information. I just want to share with you that If you have not been volunteering with PMI, I highly recommend that you do, because the benefits outweigh your volunteering. If you think about it, my experience when I volunteered with Austin Project Management, the benefits are really great. You get to network with some of the best experienced project management program manager. You get access to job opportunities that your colleagues or coworkers will tell you about at the chapters. So from professional development, from treasury, from state agencies, and there are so many opportunities and services that you get, the webinars like this one, certifications, classes, and so forth, professional development like conferences, especially face-to-face and chapter meeting, webinars, and so forth. So I highly recommend that that you take the moment to go and to KSA PMI and apply. I really think you're going to learn a lot. My experience when I joined PMI in 2013, 2010, 2011, I really got to learn, a lot of things about not only project, but also about strategy. We had to build a strategy for our chapter for next year. And it was a really great experience to sit in the room with a lot of experienced people and just share that information, P&L, cash flow and all that stuff. Very good stuff. And, let me tell you about me. These are the companies that I was lucky to work with from. I remember when I did my intern with IBM, and I worked with Cisco, with Gemalto, Schlumberger, Austin Community College, UT Professional Development Center, but also been presenting in these places like Products Camp, SCORE, Hard Texas, and so many, PMI Austin and Kenya, and now is Saudi Arabia and so much. But also I'm part of National Speaker Association and just and so much more. I want to share with you this because when you're a project manager, you got to keep thinking about growing. So it's not just project manager like me. I was a project manager, but I said, what else can I do? And that's why I thought about startup and business, because I always want to have my own business, because my grandfather was a business owner. My father and the whole family never worked for anybody. They started their own business. And in fact, my book has a chapter about how my grandfather, left his village to start his own company. And it's amazing how he has the mindset of an entrepreneur, never went to school. And I have a chapter about that, and it's called Demystifying Project Management, How to Manage Your Project as a Startup, How to Manage Your Startup as a Project. And so it's a package. So I was a project manager, like, so, okay, what do I need to grow? Well, I wrote a book last year, and that's part of the package. I want to be a speaker. That's also part of it. Then I'm going to have workshops and training event. And that's really what you should be thinking about. And probably I'm a consultant. So I consult with a lot of companies. When I'm not training, when I'm not speaking, I'm consulting. So just keep that in mind. You want to grow. And part of the growth, you volunteer. So sometimes you might not get the opportunity, or you can work with startup where you can learn so many other things, like being a project manager, scrum master, product manager. You get into sales, you get marketing, branding, engineering, and so forth. It's very amazing what you can learn from startup and entrepreneur, and the experience is great. This is my book, the copy of it, and it's really, I'm talking about my book in this keynote and this presentation, and I'll be happy to share with you a lot of that. More about me, I challenged myself 2-3 years ago. I said, I'm gonna do comedy. So I took an improv classes, and I do stand-up comedy. We had about 100 people. It was nerve-wracking, but I was able to pitch my jokes, and it worked out. So just challenge yourself to do something new, something different. That's really what it boils down to. Of course, I like soccer. I play with a team in Austin. They've been playing since 1972. So I'm lucky to have a team to play with. football, not American football, the international football, soccer. And so this is what I do with this keynote. Basically, we come in as an organization to help startup because they really they lack a lot of management skills because they are very technical most of the time and they want the result very quickly. And we come and help them out to put help them with processes, like what Fatima was saying. So help them with the processes and set them up to use a framework that everybody can understand, everybody can follow in the background, so transparent, so they don't have to worry too much about it. And that's kind of like take some of the pain points that they have and create some clarity. And we're going to talk about all of this next. So, like I said, I've got about 30 years experience in management, project management, consulting, training, coaching, and so forth. These are really some of the resources you might not heard of. These are really kind of, they call them accelerator, but also they help startup and small business owners. I'm a volunteer with SCORE, which is really, we help small businesses and startup in Austin, with their business plan, with their marketing, operational, and so many other questions they have. How can I get more customers? How can I brand myself? Well, we ask them a lot of questions to get to what they need. Well, first of all, I usually ask them, why you want to have this business? What is your story? Why do you want to do this business? And when they write a story, that is their brand, and it goes further. So I always like ask questions, the right questions to get them going. And Y Combinator, Techstar, Newship, they help a lot of startup get mentor and coach with their businesses, so they can get, if they need funding, if they need slide to pitch their prototype, their business idea, these companies can help them out. So I'm going to give you some more resources at the end of this session. So Fatima, I'll be happy to share with you some of the resources so you guys can take advantage and learn. It's all about learning and growing. More resources. This is really, it's got templates, library, some YouTube videos. So the good news is we have so much information out there. These are really statistics that says that, Small Business Association, 60% of the country's private workforce is made out of 70% are small businesses. And most of those small businesses, they are operated by a single person. So think about it, and we've seen this even not only in the US, is internationally. You see a lot of small businesses, mom and pop, restaurant, coffee shop, construction company, and so many owned by one person or a family, So just keep that in mind. And the idea here is we want to support small businesses. We want to make sure that we're here to help them out. So, if you have a local coffee shop, you want to make sure you go there and help them out and stuff like that. And the best way to predict the future is to invent it, right? And that's what most startup and entrepreneurs do. They are more innovative. They work hard. Most of them are smart. They fail again, but they keep trying till they succeed. So it's not really an overnight. It's not about money, but it's about the idea, the challenge, the resiliency, tenacity, the continuous hard work to get things done. And of course, most of the startup and entrepreneurs, they have the tendency to complicate instead of simplifying. And really, that's really a great quote by Leonardo da Vinci, that, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Really speaks a lot, And simplicity is not that simple, right? Because there is a lot of work that takes in the background, and it makes it look so easy, but it's not. And a good example, when you see ducks hanging on the lake, they are really, they're working hard back there. So simplicity is your currency. You know, as a project manager, you want to be very simple on your messaging, on your communication, on your relationship negotiation, and so many other aspects of project manager. You know, daily task of project manager. So we'll be talking about, you know, really four questions: the purpose, strategy, what are the outcome or results, and who's going to be doing the work. So like I said, four parts, four questions. What is your why? What is your purpose? How are you going to do it? Which is your strategy? What are your outcome, your result, your tangible result, if they are, you know, with metrics and so forth, and the team. Of course, we're going to make sure we have an application. And that's why I want to make sure that we go through each part and get your feedback about, you know, what we covered, and give us some idea about what do you think about each part, you know, so we can have a good discussion. This is, I don't know if you heard of a Standish group, but you really should look them up online. They're really, they've done a study, and they found out that, you know, 50% and 90% of projects that failed and challenged meaning they lost about $140 billion of cost due to either being challenged and failed. So challenge means that the project may have finished, but it never been used, right? It was too late. Competition already, you know, got into market, or failed, you know, it was over budget, and you know, behind schedule, and so many other factors, and customers were not happy with it, you know. So there are a lot of factors that affect your project. So what are some of the criteria? Success criteria is being in a good place, you know, where, you know, good culture, good tribes, you know, good environment, or having a good team, right? It's common sense, right? A team, usually smaller team, tends to work better. You know, that's why you hear a lot about agile team. They are very, you know, committed, very accountable, trust each other. We're going to talk about trust and so forth. And a good sponsor, a sponsor that is committed, that asks the right questions, that understand the end result, the outcome, the vision, mission, goals, and guiding principle of the organization. And they have to be flexible, adaptable, agile, and so forth. I highly recommend that you check out this book. It's called Ikigai. What Ikigai means in Japanese, it means, you know, in French, la raison d'être, or, you know, enlightenment, you know. So when you have, you know, when you're looking for enlightenment, for that happy medium, we always, what we're good at, we always find emptiness on things that we're good at, and we find things that we love, we find that they are not useful, because like you're passionate about something, but they are not useful by society or by organization, right? And same thing, but you know, with the need words, you know, you feel like, let me move this from here. Give me 1 second. I got 2 screens here. Okay, and the same thing. What we get paid for, we felt there is uncertainty. What does that mean? You find there's uncertainty in your job. You don't know if you're going to be working the next year. You don't know if this project is going to die, we got to be canceled or failed. So just remember that you got to be somewhere in the between, in the middle. And the secret to getting ahead is getting started. I like that quote.
Ahmed, 1 second. I'm so sorry to interrupt. I'm not able to see your screen. I don't know if others are able to see it as well.
Okay.
Because all it says is Ahmed Zohair has started screen sharing. Double click. So
Give me 1 sec.
sure. Okay, so they're able to see your screen.
You can? Okay.
No, okay, I'm getting mixed messages here.
How about now?
Yeah, now I can see it, yes.
Okay. What's happened is I somehow click on the share screen and it just affected everything. But let me change it back. But you can see the whole slide. We're almost done with this part. So, okay, before we start, any questions on what we covered so far? Put it in the chat. And Fatima, let me know if there are any questions before we start.
Yeah, I'm looking. So far, we don't have any questions.
Perfect. So let's get started. I want to start with part one, which is the why, the purpose. But if you think about it, the why is, I have a story for you. So there was 3 construction handyman working in a construction project, and they would ask this question like, what are you guys doing? So the first one said, oh, I'm just breaking stones so I can feed my family. And the second one said, oh, I'm building the wall so I can get paid. And the third one said, I'm building the house of God. So what do you think? Put in the chat, what's the difference between the work of these 3 men? Somebody's breaking stones and the other one is building a wall or making a wall, and the third one is building the house of God.
We're getting responses. One of them is, the first one is building the house of God. And that's Jonathan saying that. And Ahmed is saying all are the same.
Perfect. That's really, so statistically speaking, everything is being equal, right?
Mm-hmm. We got another response. Sorry. It says same work, but different purpose.
Very good. So the first one, he has a job. The second one has a career, but the third one has a purpose, like a bigger than him. So when you have a purpose, it makes you work harder. It makes you more happier. So just keep that in mind. A purpose will take you a long way, like a purpose for Qatar 2222. Hopefully one of those, teams from Middle East or from Africa can win, or from Asia can win the championship, right? The World Cup. So again, you have to put that perspective of the purpose in your mind by thinking about the vision, the mission, and goals and values. The vision is really, what is your aspiring wish? What do you want to do? What do you, when you grow up, right? What is your 5-10 years plan, right? For your organization, for your business, or for yourself, right? You can do that for yourself. The mission is how you're going to do it. What are the actions that you're going to do? Are you going to get up and go tangible goals and go execute them? That's really what the action, the mission. The goals is really, it should be 3 tangible goals. You write them down and you see them every morning and you make sure you execute them within that time frame that you set for yourself. The guiding principle is really, of course, this is going to be with respect to being ethical, being honest, being respectful, and and with good intentions to creating goods. So we like, again, a vision is someday I'm going to be something. How am I going to accomplish that is basically by every day taking actions on those goals, to-do list every single day, sunshine or rain, and make sure, but by staying, ethically and morally, respectful. And this book is really one of the good books that I like. It's called Think, Do, Say, and it really talks about, a purpose focused. You have more conversation about your management or your directors or your executive when you talk about your purpose. The product, the features, functionality, yeah, it's a small talk. But if you talk about the purpose, the end result, the business value of the customer, what are they going to use that product? What is this product and service going to do for them? Oh my God, you're going to have more conversation, and it's going to create more trust, more relationship with those customers. Does that make sense? Does that, you guys agree that, so think in that terms. Sorry guys, this thing's just clicking so fast. And make sure you communicate, because a lot of time when you're communicating, you're going to create chaos, you're going to create problems with your team. So over communicating is never going to hurt you, because everybody understands the purpose, the goals, the vision, mission, goals, and guiding principles. So, and you create that sense of trust, and you motivate, you unify the team to create, a good product and service. And of course, a lot of startup and entrepreneurs, they wear so many hats. They want to be involved in a technical, in engineering, in the design, in the development, in marketing, sales, customer service, support, warranties. It's too much. Make sure you delegate. And we're going to talk about that shortly. Too many certifications. I highly recommend, 1 or 2 that's going to be aligned with your job or with your prospect job that you're thinking about, but having too many, it might hurt you, especially if you put it on your LinkedIn profile next to that you have 10 or 6 or 5 certifications. Sometimes those can fire back and just shows that you have too much time on your hand. So stay focused, focus on the certification that's going to serve you, that's going to brand you and make you look good in terms of, your prospect. Same thing, too many plans can hurt you, right? I would highly recommend that you should have only maybe 1 plan with a backup plan. A backup plan is adjusted with any changes that you may think might happen, like risks, concerns, and unforeseen circumstances like COVID, or where we couldn't travel. So that's feasible, right? But everyone might have a plan till they get punched in the mouth, right? And that's why you should have a solid plan before going in to making any decision. Sometimes we rush into doing a business or into a project without understanding the purpose, without understanding the plan, without understanding the end goals. And if you come into a fork, take it. Don't worry about options, decisions. Those gonna be, you're gonna figure those out during the course of your business, during the course of your challenges. And if you fail, you're gonna fix it and keep going. So we'll stop here, and I want to ask somebody, Fatima, some of you to write down, if you're thinking about your project or your business or your startup, what is your purpose? You really have to have that before even jumping into anything. In fact, when I worked in a lot of companies, they'll tell you, okay, you're going to do this project. We're adding these features and functionality to the platform, but I never get that sense of the purpose, the end result, the customers. So share with us some of the ideas that you have experienced with your project or your business. Don't be shy. It's just about sharing and, you know, and the takeaway from this part, which is really the most critical, before you start any project, understand the purpose. Make sure you have an idea what was in that contract, because sometimes the salespeople, they sell something that we might not be able to implement. It could be technically not feasible, or it could be functionality customers might not need it. So, and that's really this purpose will generate some great questions before you even tap into your strategy, how you're going to do it, to your plans, and so forth.
Well, we have Ahmed over here who has shared that his purpose is to become a skillful project manager.
Perfect.
We have Walid who said that maximize business value and what is beneficial for the organization.
And for the customer, think about it. Customers comes first. Customers pay your paycheck, keep your cash flow. You can have profit, and you can still go out on a business if you don't have cash flow to pay your employee, to pay your bills, and so forth.
Jonathan here is sharing that his purpose is to make the project smooth sailing and ahead of the schedule to meet the client satisfaction. And above all, he would be happy to see that the project was successfully completed and got promoted to project manager or senior project manager in the future.
Okay, perfect, Jonathan. So if you think, I'm gonna just think about a company. Can somebody give me a company that have a good vision and mission and goals? And why they are successful?
I'd say Netflix.
Okay, why?
Because they started with one simple vision, which was to bring entertainment to everybody's homes, as opposed to having to walk to a red box and buy your entertainment on a weekly basis with a time limit.
Yep. Anybody else? Come on, guys. So I agree, Fatima. So Netflix, if you recall, there was Blockbusters, and they put them out of business because the Blockbusters, you have to go to the store and check the HVS and the tape and check it out, and they charge you fees if it's late and so forth. So what Netflix does is streaming. Streaming, making the movie and TVs today more like digital. So the digital transformation, and that was a long time ago. And that's why Netflix, one of the successful companies today, and they have movie production today. Another example, Apple. So Apple used to be Apple Computer, and they changed their name to just Apple. Why? Because they want to talk about the purpose, think different. They don't even talk about computers or about iPhone, iPad, iTablet, and everything, iCar. They talk about think different, or different tribe. So Apple attract people that they think they're creative, they think different, they challenge the status quo, they fail, they fix it. That's how you should think about it. Tesla did the same thing. Tesla Motors is an automotive company. Now they say Tesla only. Why? Because they want to just fix everything. You got Tesla, the automotive, the self-driving car, electrical batteries. They have solar energy. They have so many other SpaceX and so many other component of the company. So they want to have this tribe. Their tribe is the green people that want to save the world and go to Mars and on so many other things. 100% electric vehicle to save the environment from carbohydrates and so forth. So think in that terms why company change their mindset from they don't talk about their product, they talk about what's behind the product. Think different, green energy, happiness, and so forth. Now on what? Let's go to part 2. So part 2 is really the process. How we're going to do this, how we're going to execute this vision, mission, goals, and guiding principle. In other words, what is your strategy, your action plan? And it goes like this. You have to have a 3 Ps: prepare, plan, perform. There are so many frameworks out there, at least 10 or 15 that I know of, in project management, in ITIL, in Agile, and so many others. So prepare, plan, perform. In other words, when you start with the plan, prepare, what do you think that you need to prepare for when you have in a project or a small business or a startup? Put it in the chat. What are some of the things that you need to prepare for when you have a new project? This is a good question. I really like your feedback. Come on. There's nothing wrong. Just write it down. Especially Walid, Muhammad, Ahmed, Jonathan. Okay, Fatima, do I have anybody?
Nope, nobody yet.
Okay. So what do you need to prepare when you have a new project?
The product charter.
Okay, that's a document. Okay, what else?
We are not talking about documents right now.
Well, yeah, it doesn't have to be a document. It could be requirement, technical requirement.
Gathering the requirements, asking the
customers. It could be a contract, right?
Correct.
But I just want you to get the idea, right? This is really a brainstorming session where you're going to talk about, how you're going to communicate, how you're going to gather the requirements, how you're going to get your team, how you're going to, budget your project, what is your timeline, what is your schedule, or what are your concerns, your risks, what do you procure, what do you need to purchase, and so these are really great questions you're going to ask.
Walid is saying stakeholder conversation.
Yes, stakeholders, which is anybody that's going to be affected by the project, positively or negatively, like contractors, can also be part of the, the discussions. Partners, competition, understand them. Why, you got it. So prepare, plan. Plan here is basically whatever we decide, you put it in writing, right? So it's going to be clear for everybody to use, right? Like in business, we have a business plan that has everything from your marketing, your operations, your funding, and so forth. So, and really the performance, you're going to just execute that plan. That's simple as that. So I'm going to share with you here. So prepare, plan, perform. So prepare maybe a problem definition. What are we trying to solve? What solutions are we providing to our customers? What business value they need so they can, these are the right questions you should ask before you jump on a technical and functional aspect of your project, and what are the requirements in terms of request for proposal, contract, resources, tools, teams, and like we said, procurement, and prioritize in planning. Because you're going to have 100 to 1,000, items when you prepare. You're going to brainstorm, but you can't do them all. The devil is in the details. So you really have to pick what are the most relevant that's going to get you by to finish your project on time, because chances you're going to have to make drastic decisions, some technical feasibility about which way is going to serve you. It's not going to take you 3 months. Your sponsor does not have enough money to keep paying you for a long time. So it's got to be really quick. That's where you got to prioritize and have a fixed timeline and fixed budget, or else you might need some more money, but it's got to be justified as to why. Like in COVID, or you have retention problems with your team, or you have to train your team for a new product and service that requires a lot of technical background and so forth. Innovative and very creative project. And of course, the outcome is the result, a tangible product and service that's going to be shippable to the customers, that's going to be used, start generating profit for the organization, customer satisfactions, using survey, making sure that you continuously support and maintain that product and service. Resources. We're going to talk about some of the resources that you may use for your project. For example, how many of you heard of a balanced scorecard? Put it in the chat. Just put yes, or thumbs up. Yeah, balanced scorecard. If you have not, go look it up. It's really a great way to organize your thought and ideas about, from the perspective of customers, like how do you appear as an organization to customers? You see, I see a lot of people driving Tesla, and it's kind of like the sense of belonging, right? Yeah, I like Tesla because of Elon, or because of the mission, vision, and so forth. So it goes a long way, right? Apple, like they just reached a milestone of $3 trillion, million dollars, and that's really, financially they are very, very successful, and everybody want to invest in them. And same thing with Amazon and so forth. Internal business process is basically, how you're going to keep that lights going in your organization. So processes should be done internally to organizations, using frameworks, using tools, techniques, and so forth. And learning and growth, this is one of them. You're in this webinar, but a lot of organizations that would promote learning and growth. It's either through streaming, or online classes, or face-to-face classes, or shadowing your experts and so forth. Another good tool that you should use is SWOT analysis. And basically, really, before you do the SWOT analysis for your project, do it for yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunity and threats? My strength is maybe, I'm a great project manager. I know how to delegate. communicate, negotiate, but my weaknesses could be I'm not technical enough. I don't understand, the technology of IT or technology of telecom or, of, self-driving cars and so forth. So that's where you go and take, you go back and learn, learning and growth. You go learn about those technology, and that's all what you got to understand. First, you fix yourself before you fix the project. And the same thing for your project, you're going to do the same. What are the strengths and weaknesses? What are the opportunity and threat? This is one of my favorite matrix, Eisenhower. You probably already have it in your head, but you really, because we have so many decisions, and what I'm suggesting you do, you focus on what's important, what's relevant, and what's urgent, which is do it now. The top left ground, top left, circle, rectangle. Basically, focus on that. Anything else can be delegated. It can be deleted from the plan if it's not that urgent, if it's not that important, or you can postpone it to some later date. But if you do it now, you pick what's relevant. Remember, you prioritize the list in your plan. You take that list and put it on your schedule. Schedule could be either 2 weeks based on your life cycle, could be either a month, could be 1 week based on your project. Some project can take 6 months, 6 years, 6 weeks, all depends. Put it on your schedule. To do, doing, done. Doing is in progress, and when it's done, you put a date and timestamp, and you move to the next life cycle. Very simple. You're gonna hear a lot of terminology. See, I put it in a simple word. Do it now, to do, doing, done. In Agile, you're gonna hear backlog, which is really to-do list, a sprint, which is a schedule. It could be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, where you can execute whatever you decide you're going to be doing, the task or the user stories or the requirement or the development that developer decides to do. They can add this feature, they can remove this feature, and they're gonna fix this other bug. So it's 3 things. When it's done, date and time stamp. How many of you heard of the work breakdown structure? Put in a chat, yes, no. If you have not, I highly recommend that you do, because it really gives you a nice visual graphical presentation of your project in one picture, in one slide, in one diagram. And you can technically go and have a meeting, put that slide or that piece of paper. You can do it in sticky notes, just like these. Put them in a wall and you're done. And you just like start with the top. It's just like an org chart. Your CEO, president, your VP of marketing, VP of sales, VP of engineering, VP of branding, and so forth, customer service, and so forth. And same thing, your project title, the component, design, testing, sales, anything related to your project. And I have an example to talk about. So Fatima, do you want to call out any questions or anything that was in there?
There are no questions over here right now.
Okay. I'll give you an example. So start with the house. You start with the design, structure, and utilities from plumbing, electrical, and so forth. Startup, same thing. Design, test, production. When I talk to a lot of small business owners, that they have ideas, but when I ask, okay, what is your story? What problems are you trying to solve? Do you have a prototype? Can you showcase this they call it the pitch slides, so pitch deck that you can show to customers. And you ask all these questions, they don't have that information, then they are not ready to to ask for funding for their business. So when you have this, and really when you have a startup, let's say I want to start, build the platforms, or build a mobile application, once you design it here, design how long it's going to take to develop it, how long it's going to take to test it, prototype it, and how long it's going to put it in production. So you're going to estimate, let's say developers are going to charge you $100 an hour. So it's going to take them, 100 hours or 60 or 50. So you can do the math. So 100 hours, and you can design is going to take me about 10 days, 10 times 100, that's, 10,000, right? Then you go testing. How long is it going to take them? 20 days or 5 days. So it's going to be like 50,000. Put it in production, shipping, and logistic and all that stuff. Then it's going to take you another 20,000. So you do the math and you go, oh, my project is going to cost at least 250. That's what you need for funding. And that's what you need to show to your VC. And they're going to love you for this. Remember, you always want to be in the happy medium in the middle. So your product and service should be a good fit that meet the customer needs. Of course, satisfy the business, and of course can be technically and user experience feasible and good fit, good quality, and so forth.
Ahmed, sorry to interrupt. We just have like 10 more minutes, so we'd have to then complete this within the given time.
Okay, 10 more minutes, perfect. So a business is things that matter. Project is things you can manage. So that's the difference. So you want to be somewhere in between. Your brand is the best things about your brand is this quote, which is your story. Your brand is your story. Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. That's really what, think about it. So if you don't remember anything from this session, is your brand is what people would say about you when you're not in the room. Is that trustworthy, hard worker, committed, and all that stuff. Again, it takes people, which is really the critical part, and resources, which is the, resources like we talked about, and the process, people, process, and tools. You're going to hear that. So we'll stop for a second for any questions.
No questions so far.
Okay, so let's go to part 3, which is the result, the outcome, lessons learned, what went right, what went wrong, and how can we improve it, right? So the result, basically, lessons learned. Lessons learned is you're going to look for what went wrong, how can we fix it? What went right, so we can reuse it for our next project. And any success stories you're going to share, that's really what lessons learned is all about. Usually you want to talk about KPIs or OKRs. Highly recommend that you write this down or take pictures. Go look up KPIs and Key Performance Index and OKR. OKR is really talks about, very tangible research and improve customer satisfaction. That's a good OKR. And I'm looking for the book Measure What Matters by John Doerr. He's the one that really pioneers this OKR. Take a picture, go get the book, read it. You're gonna love it. And there is a lot of YouTubes about OKR, objective key result, which is objective plus key results. So again, OKR are KPIs with souls, flexible, public and transparent, ambitious evaluation tool. So what OKR is, the difference OKR here is they are really tangible goals that are public. They are posted on walls in your organization. Everybody knows them. For example, that research and improve customer survey that should be posted on a wall. We want to be the #1 IT companies in North America or in EMEA or so forth. So that's what you got to remember. And dashboard is, if it's green, it's great. If it's yellow, it's a warning. If it's red, it needs management attention. So you should take it to the management. Time is critical. What does that mean? Communication. Make sure you communicate properly. Reporting structure, weekly, what type of information you want to share with your customers, with your team, and that's really what it boils down. A kickoff meeting when you start your project. You might have the technical design meeting, monthly status meeting to talk about, oh, are we green, we yellow or red? Then share that with your team. Questions?
No questions.
Everybody's ready to go. I can see that. It's dinner time. Okay, the team. This team, usually when you start a project, you have to look for team members, forming, right? And you're in the middle of the project. When you start in, not in the middle, when you start storming, because you're going to have conflict about, technical feasibility, about ideas, functionality, between your engineers, your software developers, your architect, and then at some point your team is going to start norming, then performing, and then journeying. And this is one of the high performance project that was done by Google, and they found out that psychological safety for your team is very important, which means that they feel vulnerable, safe when they share information, when they fail, when they're not sure about things and they ask, and they feel like, hey, they feel like they can depend on their team members. There is a structure and clarity of the project, of the message, of communications. There is meaning. They feel like they have an impact on the organization, right? And another book that I highly recommend, The 5 Dysfunctions of the Team. It starts with trust. If you don't trust your team, nothing is going to go. But if you trust your team, it's okay to have conflict, because you're going to be committed to that project or to that organization, and you're going to be accountable, dependable, and the result will just follow, right? Because everything is interconnected. Again, 8 pillars of trust. For example, clarity, it makes sense, right? Character, commitment, connection, competent, and contribution, consistency. These are really called soft skills or real skills. You can learn them. You don't have to have them. So, being kind, just be nice, energetic, passionate, good listener, be fair, be honest, informed. So, and always remember that being here is a sign that you want to grow, you want to learn, and that's really a good quote, that that you want to continuously learn, and that is really my plan. And an application, this is a take home for you. Take an application is really apply what we just learned. So what we just learned is basically you start with the purpose, that the vision, mission, goals, and values. Then what is your strategy? What is your process? What is your framework? Prepare, plan, and perform. Then what are the results? And look at the result. Did you meet your outcome? Do you need to fix it? And do you have any lessons learned? And the team is part of your project. So you can do your team members need more training? Did they need, do you need to grow your team, to recruit more team, and so forth? So this is what we covered, is purpose, strategy, outcome, and team. And application is really, you apply what you want to do for your business, for your project, and it works perfectly. Case studies, we'll talk about that when I do a workshop, and that's pretty much it. Right on time.
Right on time. 1 minute to spare. Thank you so much, Ahmed. So what we will do is right now, let me just thank you for your presentation. It was very informative.
So before we go, can you put in the chat thumbs up, thumbs down, or I don't think you can do that, but just put if it was helpful that what you received in the chat while you continue talking, Fatima.
Okay, so everybody, please put in your feedback with a thumbs up, or just say how
Thumbs
you
down.
felt. Thumbs down. You're getting any improvements? We are getting quite a few thumbs up. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here, and thank you for participating as well. But hopefully in the future we will see a little more participation because it makes the webinar all the more interesting. People are saying it's very informative, Ahmed, so you're getting a lot of praises over here. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your experience with us. And guys, just for your PDUs, within 2 weeks, you will get an email with a claim code. You can use that to claim your PDU, and also the recording of this webinar will be available on the PMI KSA YouTube channel in 2 weeks. So that is about it. If you would like to get in touch with Ahmed, I've already shared his LinkedIn ID or profile. You can connect with him there. You can ask questions that you weren't able to ask in this session. That is about it from my side. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening for those who are having a great evening, and you have a great rest of the day, Ahmed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Take care.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.